Right, listen, Marcus Rashford. Now, I love Rashford. You know, you joke and say on the show that he's my son because I love him that much. I was gutted we let him go. But he had to go at the right time. It wasn't working for him at Manchester United. His relationship with the last manager, Eric Ten Hag, his relationship with this manager, there's obviously a problem with him. And I don't know whether or not the relationship with Unai Emery is better because he's played better, or whether or not he's at a club for a short amount of time. He's seen possibly maybe he's in a shop window, and if he produces the goods, he can get a big money move. I don't really know what goes through the mind of a footballer when they go on loan. What have you made of his time whilst he's been at Villa? Has it surprised you how well he's played, and also the fact that he's sort of knocked Ollie Watkins off his number 9 perch, hasn't he?
Has he surprised me? I'd say yes, probably, because I won't say he surprised me, because when you go on loan, right, it's to give you that real oomph, do you know what I mean? To get you out of the comfort zone, really. To go and play some football. He went to a really good side with a really good manager. The foundations at Aston Villa are really good. So I wouldn't say it surprised me, because the basics you want as any footballer is to run around. And at Manchester United, I mean, the amount of clips, I think some of them are a little bit unfair, because when they show clips of him losing the ball and then just walking back, like, some of them are a bit unwarranted, but also some of them are justified. I think he's done well. I'm not going to go back to the Rashford, certainly that we saw in, what year was it, where he was absolutely 2022-23.
After the World Cup, right?
Yeah, 22-23.
Yeah. After the World Cup, up to Christmas.
Yeah, 30 goals.
After Christmas.
He got that season, right? I'm not going to go back to that, but he has looked really dangerous. Like, certainly that PSG second half where they couldn't handle him. He was going past people. He was, do you know what I mean, really at it. Like, he looked like he had the bit between his teeth. He looked comfortable. He was playing in a position that he made quite clear at Manchester United he didn't want to play, which is centre forward. So to say, has he done enough for a big move? How big are we talking? Because I wouldn't say he's done enough where you're going, right, Real Madrid or Barca, just go and get him. Do you know what I mean?
But they're the two exceptions, right? Everything else is sort of below that level.
Kind of, but I'm not quite sure where exactly he is.
Okay, let's just say, for argument's sake, Isak left Newcastle, right?
Yeah.
Could he replace Isak?
You're not going to get the same output. I think Isak for 2 years has shown a real level of consistency.
Okay.
But
he can't play on either side because they've got excellent players already.
Well, there you go. But I go back to I do think he needs to move away from Manchester United. He's been there for his whole career, his whole life, right? But I just look at the scenario where Jesse Lingard went to West Ham, scored 9 goals in 16 games. He was it was a revelation, wasn't he? He was an absolute revelation when he got there. He chose to not sign there, go back to United, didn't work out again, went to Forest, was awful, didn't work, and then he found himself at FC Seoul. Do you know what I mean? So I think sometimes for something like Marcus Rashford, he'll feel the energy and the love from Aston Villa fans because they appreciate what he's done. I think there's still more to come from him. So if they can make that deal work, if I'm Rashford, I'm looking at that game, right, the fans like me, the players like me, Unai Emery trust me. That would not be the worst scenario to go back to, because at least you're kind of settled there. But if he goes back to United thinking that, well, I don't quite know what he's going to be thinking going back to United, because I'm not quite sure Ruben Amorim will ever fully trust him again. I mean, you get that job, which is the biggest job of your career, and the first thing one of your star players says is, I think I need a new challenge. That will never repair itself. So if I'm Rashford, I think he needs a clean slate, and if that's going to Aston Villa, I think it'd be the perfect fit for him.
You wouldn't have him over Martinelli, would you?
No. Do you know, if you're looking at two players' ceilings, I don't think we've ever seen Martinelli at level at Rashford's at when he is at his absolute max. Like, and I go back to that 21-22 season. I said it was. Yeah. Right. I don't think we'll see Martinelli hit that 22-23 where he scores 30. Right.
No.
But we've not seen Rashford go back to that. So the thing why I'd say I'd keep Martinelli is because Martinelli might be a 7, and then occasionally he might give you a 8, 9, like he has the last couple of weeks. He's been brilliant. Whereas Rashford, he can give you a 9. But on the flip side, he could give you a 3.
PSG was a prime example. First half, second half,
exactly right. So you need a bit of consistency. In any squad you have, you need consistency. Now, I'm not saying when they're both at their maximum, Rashford's not better than Martinelli, because he is. But the thing is, Martinelli is more consistent than Rashford is.
Okay.
But I still take my Arsenal.
Yeah, but as a squad player, not as a starter,
yes,
right?
100%.
Okay, now give me a club, his level.
Aston Villa at the minute.
Okay.
Yeah. Like, I think Rashford could get into pretty much any squad. Not most, any squad.
Yeah, I agree with that.
But it's where do you start him, and if you start him, and what Rashford is going to show up.
Okay. Listen, as a United fan, I'd love to see him back at United. I really like him. So I'd like to hear from United fans, do you want him back? I think that's an interesting question. They might be done with him. Others might be thinking...
You're not done with him, are you?
No, I just think the player I saw when he was at Aston Villa, when he was running at defenders and I don't know what it's called when you put your leg over the ball, like Ronaldo.
Like step overs
here, thank you. When he's got that, running with the ball with copious amounts of pace, scaring defenders, they're back to go. I think he looks so exciting. And I know that player still there because I've seen it. So I'd like him to come back, but I don't know if that door's still open with Amorim now.
I mean, that PSG game, the second half, the worst thing they did was when Unai Emery took him off. Because PSG must have thought, thank goodness for that.
Yeah, I agree. So United fans, do you want him back? And also football fans, would you have him at your club, but is there a place for him at your club?
He gets in any squad in the Premier League.
I think so. But does he start? Does he start for Spurs over Son?
No, because if you look at the consistency, Son's been so much. I know he's not played well for a while.
That's why
now,
I'm asking it.
But he's been more consistent over the 10-year period.
We're starting with Marcus Rashford. We've got lots coming up. Obviously, hours from 5 and 6. We're building up to Arsenal against PSG. Amir Khan should be joining us in just over an hour's time. Adam Smith will, so we've definitely got boxing. But we're going to start with football. What next for Marcus Rashford? 03717 223344.
talkSPORT Drive with Andy Goldstein. Monday to Friday afternoon from 4 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.